Hey, Pete, have you ever been fascinated by the allure of secret societies throughout history?
Are you kidding me right now, Andy? I live for this stuff. From the Freemasons to the Illuminati, I am obsessed with these clandestine groups. The Rosicrucians and their ancient wisdom, the Skull and Bones Society at Yale with its powerful alumni network. I'm drawn to them. There's something about how they offer this exclusive access to hidden knowledge. They totally capture my imagination. It's like they give this sense of belonging to something greater than oneself.
Wow, sounds like you're looking for one yourself.
Do you even need to ask? Where do I sign? How much blood do I have to give? Are there any required tattoos or brands involved? Is it my first or second born that they need?
Well, what if I told you that there's a secret society for film lovers right here at the Next Reel family of film podcasts, all proud members of the True Story FM network, and you don't have to give any blood or either of your kids?
You've got my attention, Andy. What can you tell me about this cinematic brotherhood?
When you become a member of the Next Reel family, you gain access to a treasure trove of exclusive content, early episode releases, and a community of passionate film enthusiasts who share your love for movies. It's like being initiated into a secret order where you're privy to the inner workings of our shows, including the Next Reel, the Film Board, Movies We Like, Sitting in the Dark, and CinemaScope.
But Andy, as a member, will I unlock a world of bonus content from extended conversations and behind-the-scenes insights to exclusive pre-show and post-show discussions that expand the conversations about the films we love?
Why, yes, the true power of this secret society lies in its community. As a member, you'll join an exclusive group within our Discord community where you can engage in clandestine conversations with other passionate film fans in our members-only channels.
But what about live recordings, Andy? The sacred rituals of any good cinematic order. Will these episodes be scheduled in advance so that members like me will know when to gather around the virtual pyre in real time via YouTube?
Ah, yes. Perhaps the greatest secret of all is that by becoming a member, you're not just investing in your own entertainment, you're also supporting the tireless work of our independent creators and helping to keep the magic of cinema alive and well. So if you're ready to join this elite group of film lovers and unlock the secrets of cinema, head over to truestory.fm/join. For just $5 a month or $55 a year, you will gain access to a world of exclusive content, engaging discussions, and a community that shares your passion for movies. Head to truestory.fm/join to sign up.
Andy, I can't wait for you to welcome me into the inner circle of the Next Reel family of film podcasts. I'll see you in the secret chambers. Now, when do I get my ring?
Well, we don't actually offer rings with your membership.
Tattoos or brands? When can I do that?
No tattoos.
Secret handshakes?
Tell you what, you and I can come up with our own secret handshake, okay?
No, I mean, at the very least.
Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
Hey, psst. Hey, you see that Snickers over there? If no one's looking, you should just take it.
No! Don't listen to him, my son. That would be stealing, and stealing is a sin.
Sin schmin, it's a friggin' Snickers bar. You deserve to have it. Sinning really satisfies you.
Repent, my child. Virtue is the only real snack worth savoring. For that candy bar is merely a gateway to nougat damnation. Has this ever happened to you?
Listening to the devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, and you're not sure what to think?
Then we're here to help. I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Tommy Metz III, and this season on All the Feelings, we're examining the 7 deadly sins.
You know, the fun ones.
And the 7 heavenly virtues.
Which are also a thing. Through personal stories, historical oddities, and way too much embarrassment, we take you on a thrilling journey through all the goods and the bads you hear about in church.
But without all that pesky church stuff. So come join us for All the Feelings Season 9, a sometimes funny podcast about being human. All the sins, all the virtues.
All in one place. Go to allthefeelings.fun to learn more, or subscribe to All the Feelings wherever you get your podcasts.
Game over.
Hey there, true believers. Andy Nelson here from the Marvel Movie Minute podcast with the rest of the team.
Pete Wright.
Kyle Olson.
Rob Cabasco,
and Matthew Fox.
This is the podcast where we dissect the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time, exploring every detail of this epic superhero franchise.
In our season looking at Iron Man 3, we're going to mix things up a bit.
That's right. Rob and I are your guides, but instead of our usual minute-by-minute format, we dive into 5 minutes of the film in each weekly episode.
It's a totally new approach, but one that still allows us to explore all the depth and detail that makes these movies so special, even if Iron Man 3 isn't all that special.
Hold on. That's where you're wrong. Extremist, Shane Black.
Yeah. Would you like to look at the Mandarin and Maya Hansen? Mm-hmm.
So whether you're a die-hard Marvel fan or just love deep dives into movies, there's something for everyone on Marvel Movie Minute.
Suit up and join us on this epic audio adventure. You can find us at truestory.fm or by searching Marvel Movie Minute on your favorite podcatcher.
Because in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, every minute is packed with excitement.
Enough said.
The film board gathers the gang of thugs is going dino hunting by sea, jungle, and sky in Gareth Edwards' launch of the proposed next trilogy with Jurassic World Rebirth.
Dr. Henry Loomis, this is Zora Bennett, our mission specialist.
Sorry, what mission?
This would be a medical breakthrough that could save countless lives. It comes from the largest dinosaurs on the planet.
Oh my God.
Fortunately for us, all these species exist in one isolated place. Can you be ready tomorrow?
I can guarantee your safety. I mean, more or less.
More or less?
He's your guy?
We're the best at moving things and people in and out of places they shouldn't be.
Move up towards Barbados, avoid government patrol, but there aren't that many anymore.
Why's that?
No one's dumb enough to go where we're going.
This island was the research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
We need DNA from the 3 biggest dinosaurs.
Do we have to get a sample from an egg?
I suppose we could try and get it from the parent, but they're a flying carnivore the size of an F-16.
Maybe we should make it quick.
Just as amber-trapped mosquitoes once preserved prehistoric DNA, the very spark that brought dinosaurs roaring into existence, Rebirth revives a franchise, weaving strands of nostalgia and new genetic twists for a modern audience. Tonight, we'll explore how narrative, visuals, directing, and performance combine to resurrect that primordial wonder while having a bit of fun right at the water's edge. Your guides this month, none other than a full squad of dynamite adventurers. I'm Pete Wright, and today we've got Steve Sarmento, Tommy Metz III, Justin J.J. Jaeger, and Mandy Kaplan, all here to figure out if cloning dinosaur movies is still a good idea, or if it's finally time to nuke the island from space. Hi, team. Hi. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're all here. I have to ask to start. We got opening thoughts are very important to one member of the team in particular, and as the person who champions baby dinosaurs the most, I'd like to open the floor to Tom. Thomas, what did you think of Rebirth?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and a happy baby stegosaurus to all of you. As we know, I'm a real dino head. I have been a proponent for these movies ever since the first one came out. I've been trying to catch any of that fever since chasing that dragon, and it has never come through. But I thought, hey, I kind of like this director. They have the screenplay person from the first one. I heard hype that it was going to be darker and smaller, and instead we got this movie. Let me just start by saying I liked 2 things in this movie.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear what they are.
Yep.
I think I know one of them.
You like 2 things? I'm so happy you like 2 things.
I like 2 things.
Oh my gosh.
And Mandy maybe knows what it is because Mandy and I were next to each other. Oh, no, I like 3 things. And one of them, my favorite part of the entire movie, was Mandy's reclining chair, which made a dinosaur noise every time she did it.
Highlight.
And
Mandy has a very tiny bladder, and I had to pee a lot. And I would come back. Every time I'd be like, uh-oh, I have to pee. And Tommy and I, that was highly entertaining, and I'm sorry that the rest of you did not have that experience.
Really, the theater experience is everything for a movie like this. I think that's really important. Okay, so we've got 3 things. One of them has already been mentioned for Tom. We'll see how that plays out. JJ, you seem to be particularly bearish on this movie. Is that accurate?
I'm beside myself. And I know, I mean, we do this franchise multiple times for all the reasons that Tommy mentioned. And we do a ton of franchise movies in the film board because we're connected. We feel things. And, you know, some of what we do is based on the idea that people are going to be talking about a movie that's coming out. And this movie, I don't believe anyone is going to be talking about. I think this is essentially what I felt throughout the film was, we're still doing this? And I mean this at every level, right? In the filmmaking, in the film board, in reality. Like, how are we still doing this over and over again? Like, let's try something different. Because this is, I mean, there's so much that makes me angry about this film. And the ridiculousness in this film is legion. There is so much that needn't have bothered about. So many turns in this film are completely valueless. So this is why you got my very loud reaction when I heard that there are things that people like. That's what I need here, because it was worthless to me.
Oh dear. Okay, JJ coming in hot. Steve, if I remember, you are a massive booster for David Koepp, right? I think you really love David Koepp. Is that right?
No.
Oh, right.
I don't know where you're getting that from.
Ooh, that's right.
No.
I remember it the opposite way.
No. There are some things. There are things. But I really, after I reflect on this movie, I thought, this movie is the perfect metaphor for itself. You have a world where people have grown indifferent to dinosaurs. You've got creative people trying to make the biggest, baddest mutated thing, and they're slapping stuff together. And sometimes you end up with these ugly, horrible results. You've got greedy corporations that are just trying to make a profit above anything else. And in the end, families are left abused and traumatized, and they just wanted to spend time together. And that's this movie, and that is what's going on with this franchise at this point.
Wow.
Well said.
That was really
sir.
well said. That was a parade of truth. I appreciate that, Steve. And coming to us from the reptile room in a veterinarian clinic this week is really extraordinary. Mandy, the first thing that I heard from Tom about your adventures to go see this movie together was, Mandy's really mad at me because we're doing this movie and she's grudge watching it. Is that accurate?
I'm going to say the thing that always gets a reaction. We ready? I've never seen Jurassic Park.
Insane.
I've never seen any of these movies.
What a good way to start.
Right? So I thought, but I love you guys and I love the film board and I'm becoming a nerd. So I wanted to jump in and try this. And, but I did have a positive that Tommy's not being honest about how much he enjoyed one feature of this movie a lot. And throughout the movie, I snuck in jalapeno cheddar powder for our popcorn.
Oh, right. Oh, contraband.
Oh,
yeah.
So good.
And that was fantastic. Oh, no,
you
JJ. God, JJ just refuses to like anything about this movie.
This is not about liking. This is the concept that contraband exists. I've worked at multiple theaters in my life. It's really not a thing. Anyway, go on.
Okay. Well,
getting some real no butt energy from JJ's corner of the call this week.
So I enjoyed my popcorn.
Okay, that's something. Yeah. All right. I have to say, I echo Steve. I feel like this movie, I could not help but wonder if they knew they were lampooning themselves as they, scene after scene was addressing the meta issue of whether we should be watching this movie or if we should just put it to bed. I liked more about the last set of Jurassic World movies than I did about this one. And that's largely to say that for me, the dinosaurs are fun on screen, and most of them I thought looked really good and interesting. And anytime a dinosaur is eating someone, I'm into it. And the problem is that there are humans in the movie, and they have been given scripts with words that just don't work. And I think some of our principal cast were miscast in the worst way. This is a thing we've talked about before, which is, when you have sometimes a charismatic performer can bring dead material to life by the sheer power of will and that charisma. And sometimes you have just actors that are very, very talented at their craft, and they cannot do anything with mud. And what they were handed, actors that I otherwise like, were given mud in this script, and it just didn't play. The last point before I promise we'll move on, is I forgot my last point.
Oh, no.
That's probably telling.
Well, maybe what you could do is talk about it sarcastically and just avoid discussing what it actually is, so that the audience is left to kind of figure out what really happened and guess at it, as opposed to really finding out what the story is about. That would be very much like watching this movie.
Or you could glisten.
And maybe giggle kind of flirtatiously in an environment that makes no sense for it. That would work too.
Yeah.
No, to your point, Pete, I mean, they, at the read through, they must have noticed that Scarlett Johansson, who I really, really like, can't deliver that type of joke, which is a deadpan, kind of sarcastic, slightly quippish, but still underwritten. She can't do it. And then the movie has her do it 19 times. It's a disaster.
I don't even remember an attempt at a joke. Honestly, I'm not making a joke.
Well, the audience didn't catch it either, but there were a bunch. He kept trying to sarcastically make people do stuff or say things, and it was completely wooden and weird. And I really like her, but the movie didn't adapt to that fact of, we need to write jokes. It can't, Ryan Reynolds can present that type of a joke and people will laugh. She cannot.
So much of her interactions with Loomis was like that, right? Whereas she,
who's
if
Loomis?
you imagine,
I'm sorry?
Loomis is the doctor. He's the
bad guy?
the brainy one. No, he's the brainy guy.
Jonathan Bailey.
Fierro.
Jonathan Bailey. Yeah.
Think about the recruitment scene where she and the evil guy are sitting closely together, even though they literally just met, and she hasn't really even accepted the job, but now all of a sudden they're a team to try to recruit the doctor to join, and they are having this interaction that's loaded with these kind of sarcastic quips that none of them hit as jokes, and you'd have no chemistry between the characters because they haven't been established as they don't even really like each other. There's really nothing to go off of. And so even, Tommy, I love what you're saying, but I actually don't even think it's I think it's more what Pete's saying, in that it has really nothing to do with Scarlett Johansson. It has to do with an utterly confusing script that makes no sense of character interaction at all.
It felt like it was written by AI. That it was just the most generic, lowest common denominator, obvious, terribly unnuanced
if you
script.
Look really carefully at the credits, the O is a zero. Was that Never mind. At least that took me a long time.
I kept waiting for Mandy to come in with her tagline. Mandy, you missed your cue. There's a script? God, yes. Right? That was the question about this whole movie. Where is it?
Yeah.
Before we record, I'll let you guys know how ditzy I am. But whilst recording, I like to appear very knowledgeable.
This is the fountain of youth problem. You say this isn't a Scarlett Johansson problem, and it's not really Scarlett Johansson's problem, but Fountain of Youth, which is another Apple TV original, has John Krasinski and Natalie Portman, and it has the same script problems. The script is terrible, and yet Krasinski, through power of will and charisma, can make stupid words come out charmingly, and I enjoy watching him do it. And Natalie Portman, whom I adore as an actor and find so many of her very serious works fantastic, is completely dead wood in the movie. She also cannot deliver the kind of sort of insipid language that is rife in that script. I'm all about a dumb movie, but casting the right performer to do it is is so critical. And Scarlett Johansson was handed this wet log of a script and was asked to do something really incredible with it and be a strong character of agency that shoots guns and hangs off of boats, and it just never conjured the Black Widowness that we all know she can deliver. It never once achieved that level of energy.
I'd like to add one thing about the script and the problem with this franchise. And I think this might be it, because we went through the first trilogy, we went through the second trilogy, they're doing this. And I don't think anybody has really honed in on what makes a Jurassic Park movie a Jurassic Park movie. They dialed that in with Fast and the Furious and like figured that out. And so now they can crank those out and they can be silly, they can be ridiculous. I don't think any writer has really cracked the code of what makes the Jurassic Park movie the success that it is. They've got the first one, other attempts, and they've tried various things. And I think that's the problem with this. What is it supposed to be? Is it just people with dinosaurs? Is it supposed to be, the theme park? What is it? And I don't think it has a strong sense of what ties it into that franchise. And so we get something that feels like reheated other movies, other things, because there's no sense of identity of this is what a Jurassic Park movie is supposed to be.
I think that's a really good question, Steve. And I would love it if we could just bandy this about a little bit. What is a Jurassic Park movie? Tom, you're literally raising your hand. This is outstanding.
That's what I do. It's from the first book. It's running around in the dark. It's being outmatched, running around in the dark without any equipment, without all these guns. You don't need this movie. This franchise got obsessed with this idea that everyone instantly becomes super bored with dinosaurs, which is so dumb. No one's going to get bored. And so they started reinventing.
They're telling on themselves. They're telling on themselves. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and like the fact that we're still, this movie, as terrible as it is making $1 zillion, is doing very, very well. And so people aren't bored with dinosaurs, but the movie's insisting we are. And so they have to keep creating new hybrids, new things. You put the original unknowable creatures, because we don't really know what they are, and put them, break a fence and put people out in the dark and not in these crazy locales. We don't need tanks. We don't need guns. We certainly don't need everything shot at noon. Like like people are afraid of the dark, and people are afraid of nature in the dark and being hunted. Just go back to that. That's what I was really hoping for with this.
I liked the movie the second time I watched it when it was called Jaws. And that's what I thought this movie was trying to be.
Yeah, it needs to be scarier, right? Yeah. I mean, honestly, so I think one of my first theater jobs was when the original Jurassic Park came through. And I think that was back in the time when I wasn't comfortable watching a scary movie. And that I liked the concept of it hearkening to Jaws, or this running in the dark concept, because really the fear, or you think about the jump scares or the intense dread scenes in the original Jurassic Park, and even in some of the good movies, there are good movies in this franchise that came later, they stayed true to that in allowing us to tap into our fear in something that we are interestingly interested in, which I think is a great way to do it. I think when we saw the first Jurassic World movie here, the Chris Pratt piece, I thought that was a pretty decent movie. That it was fun. It was a nice ride. This is completely sanitized, confusing nonsense. And there's so many reasons for it. You could even argue that the grandioseness of the theme in the original is something that's really special about this. That doesn't even really play here either. They're getting rid of all of that. That piece of we're getting tired of our own stuff is what I feel from this movie. And that's why I'm saying they're telling on themselves. They don't even really care about this anymore, and they're just letting it die, which is terribly sad.
Well, look at what you and Tom together just described in picking out the first Jurassic Park and the first Jurassic World. The thing that's fantastic about those movies, and I say fantastic with a degree of cinematic relativism, the thing that is fantastic is that these are human systems that have been created that run amok, and I can see myself being in either one of them. I can see myself being a visitor in one of these parks and having the horror show of the fence breaking down and being terrified of that. That's what makes those movies special and provocative. And as soon as they give the people a mission, you've got to go in and predator this island, it becomes nonsense because I can no longer see myself doing it. I'm never going to take the neurotoxin in. Let's hang a flag on neurotoxin and never effing use it at all. I have thoughts about those kinds of things. This movie, I'm never going to be on that damn boat. I'm never going to be there. This lost the soul of running around in the dark. Hat tip, Tom. That was just a perfect way to do it.
Unless you have a criminally reckless father who takes you and your little sister and your stoner boyfriend
through the
no supply. Like,
Yes.
I mean, they're the ones that we're supposed to relate to, right? They're the ones we're supposed to feel like
they're the audience surrogate. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I know if my child was going to go across a river to a boat, I'd spend the whole time going, go, 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 go. Come. It's like,
oh, God.
My knee doesn't work. My knee's fine. My knee doesn't work. My knee's fine.
Now I'm going to run.
Right. Yeah. And the repetitive moments. I mean, I hope we get into that a little bit. But anyway, I think that's a failure in itself. Our connecting characters are idiots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Idiots.
And also not funny.
No.
He's telling on themselves again. They think we're idiots. Yeah. That's the point, right?
Were they supposed to be funny?
Movie,
the boyfriend was supposed to be funny.
Oh my gosh, he was not funny.
No.
But he's not. He was underwritten. Everything. This was a very first draft script that they forgot to punch up, or they just assumed people will be able to deliver these lines. And like Pete said, it takes a certain type of actor to deliver these type of underwritten lines. And I was embarrassed for the movie. Mandy and I saw it, and the theater was full and silent.
Yeah, I laughed at it repeatedly. Of like, what do you think I'm gonna say about this movie? Like, oh,
I was jealous of a little kid who was too scared. And his mom had to take him out in the lobby and wait for the rest of the family. And when I peed for the fourth time, I was like, you nailed this. Good call. You're out in the lobby, running around the hall. Whatever you're doing, it's better than what I'm doing.
I want to transition to Gareth Edwards because, we've talked about Edwards on this show before. We've talked about Godzilla, one of the great single shots of Godzilla, where much of the movie I feel like is sort of lost in sense memory. I remember feeling that it was kind of it was a middling to fair movie, that it was good with some incredibly beautiful sequences and shots. Mm-hmm. One of them being the skydiving, the Halo divers who jumped out of the plane and dove through the red smoke. It seems it's possible that Gareth Edwards has a thing for red and red smoke. There are some, I think, beautiful sequences of emerging dinosaurs, and the disastrous Rex, I guess, is that what it's called? The D-Rex. There is a moment you can kind of feel that Edwards is trying to conjure Spielberg's tendency to hide the big bad and just show us little bits of it and its weird head. And I imagine if I liked the movie more, I would have been more impacted by those choices, because I do think they were legitimately beautiful smoke reveals. I think they looked great and they could have been really scary. Thoughts?
The point that I have difficulty with that, like, I want to give you that point. I want to be able to be objective enough to see the points in filmmaking that are coming there. But the D-Bag or the D-Rex, like, the thing that's problem with it is it's no longer a dinosaur, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if we said it's running in the dark, that's one thing, but also it's dinosaurs. We no longer have dinosaurs anymore. And we started down this path 4 movies ago. But the point is, like, now we have this thing that we've just created that's just a big monster. And it's no longer the innovation or the specialness of the dinosaur aspect of it is completely lost, because they are trying to create a mutant that's scary. And that's a whole different movie. That's not what we're going to see here. Show me the dinosaurs.
But JJ, you forget that after the first movie, there are only 5 dinosaurs in the universe. So we have to genetically create them, or else because there are no more dinosaurs. That's one of the things that bugged me more than anything about this movie, that they keep forgetting how many dinosaurs there are that are legitimately scary. Like they haven't played very much with dinosaur insects. Those things are creepy. And
no, instead we got locusts for that whole one movie.
Right. That's right.
Do you remember
Didn't
that whole
we get
movie was about
dinosaur
locusts?
insects in Starship Troopers?
Oh, those were metallic ants.
Yes.
right.
Well, and we took the frightening T-Rex from the first one, and we turned it into this punchline where the raft inflates, and then when it falls down, the T-Rex is moved away very quickly. I was like, so this was the stealthiest T-Rex ever, where when it's introduced in the first one step shakes the ground, ripples the water. This one just like rolls over and sneaks off, despite the fact that the rest of the family can see what that T-Rex did. But for the audience, where did it go? And I'm like, she heard it. She should have heard it. I'm like, I like the visual gag. Wrong time for it. Wrong dinosaur for that. You took the T-Rex and made it something that it's not. And that sometimes
the T-Rex tiptoes like Scooby-Doo, right?
Oh my God, this movie is filled with tiptoeing dinosaurs. Because the movie, unfortunately, Gareth Edwards he found one trick and did it 6 times, I believe I counted, which is we're able to see the dinosaur. The character can't. It's sneaking up behind it, and something the size of a skyscraper is like a doop doop doop.
Yeah,
like just sort of like steps on a branch and is like, ugh! Like, I mean, everyone is so deaf or something, and I mean that's a really weird effect to choose 6 times in a movie filled with 6 dinosaurs sneaking up behind you every time. What is that? Why would a director make that?
He chose to have Bella run into her father's arms with him going, "Oh, Bella, Bella," 16 times.
Yeah.
It was like the same beat over and over and over. The whole movie was just close call, relief, close call, relief. It was relentless.
And then that sequence, my favorite part, and meaning one of the many scenes that drove me insane, was the raft, and then T-Rex is chasing them. They hide behind 2 stones, and he tries to put his face through it, and he can't, and he's like, "Gah!" And he leaves. Walk over the stones. You're a skyscraper.
It was like kid getting their head caught in the banister.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. He turned into like better luck next timeosaurus. He was like, "Oh, you got me." He just left. The dinosaurs were stupid, even for dinosaurs. That being said, I'm going to name check one of the things that I loved about this movie. Sleepy T-Rex. Oh my. The rest of the T-Rex was kind of dumb, although he was my favorite dinosaur by far of the entire movie. But when he's just like, "Yeah, I had a big lunch," and like rolls over, I just like started clapping. I was so excited for Sleepy T-Rex. That gave me the baby stegosaur feeling.
Well, what's interesting about that, I'm on Sleepy T-Rex team too. I found that super charming and funny, and what a like weird, wonderful idea to put it sleeping, like slumbering on this island.
Yeah.
But it's like a Tom and Jerry idea, though, guys.
It is a little bit. Maybe it's a Tom and Jerry
but
idea.
I mean, like okay, keep going.
But it's something we've never seen before, right?
Right.
That's compelling in its own right. I'm surprised, Tom, that the hybrid little, like, I don't know, weird, was it a baby triceratops? It was literally a baby triceratops.
Dolores?
Yeah, Dolores didn't appeal to you more. And I'm opening the conversation with Dolores because I want to talk about kids. But you first, axis to grind on Dolores?
Axis to grind about most of the dinosaurs is there's so little practicality that everything, I just didn't think it looked good. I thought that would be the part that we could do for a movie that was very excited about it. We went to Peru. We filmed in Peru. A lot of this movie was filmed in a room because there was so much green screen and a lot of the dinosaurs just looked bad. I didn't believe that they're crushing those plants. It doesn't look like it's slicing through the water. And Dolores looked really fake and dumb and was so panderingly Disney. Like it didn't do anything. It was just sort of like squeak, squeak, squeak. And then at least at the very end of the movie, it's in a backpack heading towards a climate which we know kills all the dinosaurs. Like Dolores is not going to make it. That's the one thing that started with is dinosaurs can't leave this forest. And she's like, hop in. I'm going to feed you more Twizzlers.
Yeah, all we have is a little girl who's going to be very sad.
Yes, exactly.
I think what you missed in the run-up to this film is that this is a collab with The Land Before Time. No, but
it looked like that's so funny.
The river. I agree with you, though. I mean, the river sequence in particular looked really bad. I never at any time thought that the T-Rex was actually physically close to the raft.
No.
So it was all the suspension of disbelief for me to even get there with any of the harrowing and any of the activities. So yeah, I had a lot of problems with how it looked. And that, again, let's go back to Pete's original question. Yeah. What is the first movie about, right? We said running in the dark. We said dinosaurs. The other thing that was so special about the initial Jurassic Park, and Mandy, you should see it, because when they made it, it spectacularly looked good.
It still does.
And it holds up to some degree.
So much of it was practical.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that, this franchise is meant to be about that too, I think.
Well, here's the other piece that I think is really critical that we don't have in this movie, and I think we're missing it. The audience surrogate in the first movie, and again in Jurassic World, is a younger sibling who is brilliant about dinosaurs.
Right.
They're the ones leading us through this universe and telling us what to be afraid of, because they have My First Dinosaur book and they've memorized it, and now we get to be scared when the child is scared. This movie misunderstands what is so important about that role and places a child only to serve as a victim, only as someone for us to respond to because we don't like children in peril, without telling us why we should be scared. Neither of the kids in this movie, I think, are written in such a way that give us what was so special about the intelligence of the younger siblings in the two good Jurassic Park movies. And I'm saying some of the other Jurassic Park movies I also liked, but those two had that thing in common, and I thought that was really special. I did not get any of that here.
Speak for yourself. I love children in peril.
I know.
Can't get
but
enough.
I'm just saying smart children in peril is better than dumb children in peril.
Right.
Yes.
No, there was no one to really root for or stick up for, and the family doesn't make any sense. You said, something about how these children weren't written in a way. You can stop at the word written. Yeah. About all of these characters, unfortunately. I know that's an easy pot shot, but there's no characters. No one's real. And the only thing that makes them real is stuff that happened off screen involving marriages and children, which we've never seen. To wit, Mandy leaned over to me at one point after we're learning the fourth backstory of someone we've never met and will never meet. Be like this. Yeah, everyone. She was like, are any of these people from old? And I was like, none of them. This is all new stuff that we're getting on this interminable boat ride where they're just forcing character development. And it's not development. It's just background sketches.
Yeah.
So and weird. Then when they start killing people off, I didn't know who those people were. Didn't care.
Yeah. Nope.
Right?
No.
Just
right. No, you mean you mean the woman on the boat. And
woman on the boat and the man.
And the French guy the French guy who following along this weird new thing where a random character gets the worst death. It's never the bad person. There was the one from Jurassic whatever where that the assistant gets eaten by 19 things at once, and then the French guy gets swallowed alive. At least the bad guy gets his head chopped off. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Horror movies where there's an ensemble. It's exciting when you're getting to know all the gang, right? And you're like, oh, he's the wise ass, and oh, she's got a past. And then they randomly kill one. You don't know which one it's going to be, but you're equally getting to know them all. You know it's not going to be Neve Campbell. Got it, fine. But we don't know who it's going to be. And in this one, I mean, we didn't know these characters. We didn't care about them. And then, of course, as JJ keeps pointing out, the characters didn't seem to care. They were like, no. Okay, moving on.
They scream a bunch and then move on. Yeah.
Moving on, which I know has to happen in these movies. I get it. But had we known them, had we seen them be kind to this family they take on board, or have just a couple of moments. I'm not saying scenes where we learn their backstories. Just give them a personality so that we're like, oh, I was rooting for him. I liked him. But no, they didn't. They couldn't do that for us.
Well, it's really funny you bring that up. If we had a scene where they were nice to that family, that is a really important point. And I want to go back to Gareth Edwards because we just last night watched Rogue One, another Gareth Edwards film.
A good one.
And
is that
it is a good
on the beach?
It's
Yes.
Stormtroopers on the beach.
Okay, go ahead.
But you know something? You go back and you watch that movie, and the pacing of that movie feels very much like this. It's so fast that you never really get a sense for characters and how they genuinely feel about one another. It is emotion that is force-fed down your throat underneath title cards of new planets. They move around so fast. Now, coming up, we just finished rewatching both seasons of Andor, which was so patiently deliberate in its exposition of character. And so running into Rogue One felt like a fairly jarring experience. And yet here, having just watched that the other night, now watching this, I'm realizing maybe this is one of the directorial sort of fingerprints that Gareth Edwards is bringing to the role. Makes me want to go back and watch Godzilla again. Just how sort of manufactured is the pacing of those movies.
The big difference between Rogue One, Godzilla, and this is we are bringing so much of ourselves to Star Wars, to Godzilla, because even if there's not characters, there's AT-ATs, there's things, there's stormtroopers, all that.
Right.
Here, you're not even, to JJ's point, we're not even seeing the same dinosaurs. We get 2 dinosaurs we've seen before, and the rest are all make-em-ups. 3.
I can't believe the Velociraptor got such short shrift. I cannot believe that.
That's the revelation from Jurassic Park created the conversation about velociraptors in the world. I'm not saying they created velociraptors, although that's a whole different philosophical point that I'd like to talk about dinosaurs and all that stuff. But the point is, nobody talked about velociraptors until we saw Jurassic Park. And now they're not even mentioned in this. In Chris Pratt's universe, in Jurassic World, they are the focus, right?
Yeah.
It's like they've literally, the Velociraptor has a character arc that leads you to Jurassic World, and now they've ignored them completely. Evidently, someone tired of that narrative within the Jurassic franchise, and that's really saddening.
They seem to think with this franchise that the way to go is Alien 3, Alien 4, keep going, instead of when the answer was right there, Alien Romulus.
Right.
Small, running around in the dark. The original things. Yeah.
Sorry, to Pete's point, then if we had a kid that could tell us, because we've got these new monsters that could say, oh, that looks like this and this. They could give us something, because in the first Jurassic Park, we get, Sam Neill doing that great piece about Velociraptor and how smart they are and all that. So we knew that they were a threat. We have no idea of what type of threat any of these are. So whether we're in the tunnels, which I thought, here's our opportunity for being scared in the dark, we're getting caught, or in the convenience store, which, okay, so it's sort of a reheat of the kitchen scene from the first one, but I don't know what these dinosaurs are capable of, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses, what their strategies might be. If I had had a kid that could say, oh, looks like this, and they were known for this. Oh, okay, now I've got some stakes in this of like, they need to be sure not to make a noise. Don't move. Don't do this, but we have nothing to go on.
Wasn't that supposed to be the purpose of Loomis? He was explaining what these dinosaurs were. I mean, I found him so milquetoast that I tuned out. I didn't care, but
what a great
this
American
is the interesting thing. This is the thing, though. This is the thing about these characters. It seems like they put these characters who are otherwise wise about dinosaurs in a place where there aren't dinosaurs anymore, going back to JJ's point. Like, they're all hybrids. How could our experts in dinosaurs really know anything about the crazy genetic hybrids that are wandering around here? No one could know. This just goes back to the sort of the frailty of the story itself. And yet, here we are, this movie that is purported to start a new trilogy, right? Unless it's a healthcare story, I don't know how we're going to go back to the theater for this, but it's supposed to start a new trilogy, and it was also supposed to, as we've already hinted to, take us back to the original tone of the original movie, and that nostalgia factor, it weighs heavily on me in this movie. I think because I knew going in that John Matheson was trying to channel Spielberg, shot it in 35 millimeter, Panavision anamorphics, trying to do lens flare and all that stuff. And it felt not like that. Like tonally, I felt like the movie, the camera had no texture and no personality. Am I alone?
Very flat when it's not very fake.
Was there an interesting shot? I mean, really, like I'm not saying. I mean, maybe
smoke stuff,
the motion control on the boat. I mean,
yeah.
But again, it's all. There's just so much fake. There's nothing daring about what they did with the camera, and that was painfully apparent.
So there's Mandy mentioned Jaws before, and I thought, yes, that whole sequence reminded me so much of Jaws when she gets out on her front and has got to shoot that, and they bobble the shot and all of that. There were so many times where I thought, you're missing this, because I just got hungry for watching Jaws again, because I thought the way that was shot in Jaws, the way the tension was created, the way the emotion carried through, that you're on the edge of your seat, and I felt nothing of that in that shot. I thought, what are they doing wrong? You've got a blueprint for how to shoot something like this. Follow that. It's going to be different. You've got a different actor there. It's a different situation, but use that template of where your close-ups are, how you're cutting that scene together, because I felt like this should have been something. And at that point in the movie, I realized they just didn't have any idea how to create that dynamic in this film.
I have a suggestion about what went so wrong. Is he Peter Jacksoned it. We were flying above the boat on the same speed as them, making us safe. Jaws is shot from the boat. Mm-hmm. So we're rocking, we're feeling the unclearness, the trouble, all of this stuff. And we're also suffering from character whiplash of Scarlett Johansson, one of her many hilarious asides, when she's like, oh, you're going to take the shot, doctor? Well, the boat's going to be going like this. There's going to be stuff in your eyes, and it's going to be really hard. Okay. And he goes, you take it. She takes it and immediately does a terrible job. She makes a big job of like, I should be the one to take the shot, and is like falling off the boat immediately.
But she glistened.
She did so much glistening. Well,
this movie
it's noon, 24 hours a day in this movie.
This movie is a case against sarcasm. I mean, it's I'm not saying that sarcasm doesn't have its place, but if anyone wants to defend sarcasm, I will put this film up and say, this is when it doesn't hit. Right. Throughout, they are constantly quipping back and forth with each other about stuff like this in ways that are not the actual things that they're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. It's told with an edge, it's told with some anger, it's told with some meanness, but meant to be playful, and it's terrible.
It's pre-Thunderbolts Marvel humor. It's anti-jokes. It's just sort of like you thought that would work, right? Did you rehearse that speech? Or none of those things are good. Those aren't jokes. Yeah. Those are just sort of statements
it's just
that
mean.
you put in while you're waiting to figure out the joke. And then damn it, someone called action.
The other piece that I just have to call out is the score. We are the original movie, John Williams, extraordinary themes. Alexandre Desplat scored the film, and I wonder, I just really struggled with how often it felt so much like they were relying on the nostalgia of those original themes to make us feel like we felt in the original movie, and it just felt like a replay. Am I alone?
It was gross. It was gross. Yeah. I mean, like,
Mandy doesn't know.
The scenes where they add sweeping strings for absolutely no purpose are all over. And it reminds me so much of the most recent Indiana Jones. I don't remember. I didn't see it. What's the title of the most recent Indiana Jones that came out?
Dial of Destiny.
Deal of the Century.
Deal or no deal. So the interesting thing is, if you watch the trailer to the most recent to Dial of Destiny, you'll notice that they go into that original John Williams wonderfulness, and then what it is it's like a DSL coda over and over of just repeating the theme one more time, repeating the theme a little bit bigger, a little bit slower, a little bit different, repeating the theme, like, that's what I felt about the score in this film, is that it wasn't really connected to the original thing, but it was just trying to channel it and never
ever ending, never bringing us to any emotional period into what was in the film. It was completely misplaced in this film. And if you, could be it's laughable how bad the score matched with the film in this one.
But that's a huge name in film composition.
Right? Exactly.
So it's,
No, I mean, it comes down to, I think, choices made by Edwards, and those choices to put all these pieces together are, I really struggle with.
Okay, how do you spell Edwards? I'm going to send him an email right now.
Yeah, please, strongly worded, if nothing else.
At edwards.com.
It's just so stylistic. It emphasizes so much of this attempt at big visuals over any sort of character mastery, which is exactly opposite of what the first movie did. And that is a real shame. 3 principal monsters, the mosasaur, the big toposaurus, what was it? Titanosaurus. Titanosaurus, which was just, I'm glad I wasn't sitting with any sort of paleontologist because I have a feeling that dinosaur doesn't exist the way it was put on film. There is no way its skeletal structure could hold the size of that on film. That was ridiculous. That thing was a stupid aircraft carrier, 2 of them in love. This was a love scene.
And the wispy tail that drew the heart in the thing. So this goes to that philosophical point that I was alluding to earlier.
Please.
Because dinosaurs are very interesting. We're very creative about them. We've found out now, as science has developed, that there isn't a thing called a brontosaurus, that actually we pieced it together incorrectly. It's just different pieces from the brachiosaur out there in the world. Yes, Tommy, if I'm bringing this to your attention, this is Mandela effect.
This is the first time.
The point of this, right, is that if we keep making up monsters or dinosaurs that aren't real on screen in the Jurassic franchise, how is anyone going to ever believe in dinosaurs, right? I mean, we're just making things up at this point. These are no longer dinosaurs. They're monsters.
Right.
So what are the real dinosaurs? Does anybody know? Were there real dinosaurs in this movie?
No,
this is all God's
there were
plan.
only the animals on the ark, I think, is what we're talking about.
That's right.
That's all we get. There were no velociraptors on the ark.
Barney, I know.
Barney, for sure. No, I totally get that. I totally relate to it, and that because this, otherwise, I'll just say here's the thing: the idea of having if you're going to have a mission and make all these weird decisions leading us to this movie, it's pretty on rails to just say we're going to put these characters, special forces, and have them go get a blood sample from these 3 things. It's more like a video game, but it is a structure. It is a scaffolding for the story. And having them get the mosasaur, big action set piece, great. Having them get the titanosaur, they get the blood, that's great. The sequence on the cliffside, you guys... What the hell were the native people's caves doing in the middle of that cliff face where the flying dinosaurs laid their eggs? Why was there a clearly carved native structure? Do I have any thoughts to why that exists, where it exists?
Absolutely not.
I was assuming someone would explain it with their back to the camera really, 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 really fast. Really, 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 really fast.
Okay.
I do need to bring. Yeah, I do need to. I don't have a reason for it, Pete, other than there were people there before, I guess, obviously. But because I have to bring it up, but I will keep it extremely short because I rail against it all the time. But it's my biggest pet peeve. This movie is a ADR nightmare. Nightmare. And that is just a sign of you haven't gotten it together and test audiences are confused.
Hurry up!
Oh my God, so much.
Come on!
Like every time someone and they would stop sentences when someone's face would come on camera and then finish the sentence. I mean, it was egregious. It was so annoying. Oh, I hated it. It drives me up the wall.
Do you remember the scene where the guy, just as an aside, this doesn't actually involve ADR, but it's in my head. I'm not going to be able to let it go, maybe ever, where French guy has a big, or was it French guy or was it bad guy? He has a big stick and there's a helicopter that's been hanging in the thing and it's like creaking and he has a stick and he holds it up.
And he's standing right underneath it.
Touch it, standing underneath it. What happens?
Nothing.
He gets the gun.
Why is there a helicopter there?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that there? He gets the gun from the helicopter?
The pilot has a gun in his hand. But why does what was the pilot shooting at as he's crashing?
Well, probably bad dinosaurs, I guess. We can only assume.
Why is that your choice? Like
if you make a pile of bullets, it's softer when you land on it.
That's it. Yes.
Okay. Also, that gun doubled because 3/4 of the way through the movie, all of a sudden Scarlett Johansson had a 45. Where was that the entire movie? Remember when she jumped into the huge human-sized drainage?
That was the same gun. She got the gun from Bad Guy when they were under the.
Look, what I'm saying is that tracked perfectly, so it's good.
Sure. No, exactly. How many bullets were in that thing? And
7,300.
Yeah, exactly.
All the bullets.
No, it was pointless. Yes.
Okay.
My favorite part of the ADR was that very last thing when they're trying to unhook, when Ali is doing his big run off screen, and then he's going to be okay with the.
I'm going to wave these flares just like she did.
At one point, there was so much confusion about what is going on that Scarlett Johansson runs across the screen, and her face is covered up by the winch for 2 seconds. She goes. And you can rewatch it. I promise. She goes, hook is stuck. Hook is stuck. They had her say hook is stuck because someone in the test audience was like, what are they doing? There was so much. Mandy, as a voiceover actor, do you see that stuff more, less? Or are you just so like.
Oh, I see it and it drives me bananas all the time.
It does drive you insane. Okay. Well, there was a lot of that there.
But you brought up Mahershala Ali, and that's the real crime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking an actor of that caliber and that charisma and reducing him to this. He's so wonderful. And I just couldn't believe he did this.
I couldn't either. This felt very much like one for the studio and then he'll get something else, right? Like, please let this pay off for him. And yet, all that said, his face is a buoy to me in a sea of dumbness, right? Like, I still enjoyed watching him in this movie. And honestly, same with Fierro, Jonathan Bailey. I just find him charismatic and charming, and I like watching him. And I was able to, by halfway through the movie, to dissociate what they were saying from what they looked like saying it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd listen to that guy at a dinner party.
I found him so milquetoasty and so boring and wasted to take someone that charismatic.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. Well, I feel like we could continue. I don't think we should.
Why are they safe on the boat? I mean, that's actually how they got on the island in the first place.
That's how they got on the island. And where wait a minute. The Spinosauruses are the ones that had the fins, right, at the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
Wasn't the Spinosaurus the big bad in like Jurassic Park 3?
Possibly.
Wasn't it the giant thing? And now it swims in schools?
It is meant to be big, for sure. But
Okay. Well, I can't even with this movie.
Right.
Can I say
Tom.
the other part that I liked? Remember,
I high-five you.
Yeah. The last part I liked is the reveal that the helicopter was already in the big dinosaur's mouth.
That was
good.
Now visually, that's cool.
Yeah.
But why don't we hear it?
No, we don't hear a thing.
Yeah.
That was frustrating.
Like, yes, I love it as a reveal, but I'm like, wait a second.
No,
the helicopter was literally the loudest thing a second ago, and then it was gone, and we didn't. I mean, there's no.
This movie has that real effect of if anything is out of frame, it doesn't exist and you can't hear it.
Yes,
but
which is a notably Spielberg thing.
Yes,
he does that all the time.
The very first movie, when all the raptors are finally contacting them in the big when dinosaurs ruled the world, and then they're like, and then T-Rex grabs it. Well, they would have been like, there's T-Rex. It's right there. But it worked for that because he doesn't let you breathe. This movie's filled with breath and no one to care about.
And I was crossing my fingers at the beginning because as soon as technology was thwarted by a Snickers bar wrapper, I thought, oh, good Lord, we are in trouble.
This movie is smackalicious.
Yes. That was it.
I was going to bring that up. Why does the Snickers bar getting sucked into the interstitial door fan cause the entire compound to go down?
It's a peanut allergy.
It was. The building had a peanut allergy.
Yeah.
This was rough.
InGen's kryptonite is nougat.
Oh my God. Okay, so I sat down and I thought sometimes I like to write out some notes. What do I think thematically this movie was going for? And it does feel like an environmental movie. Right? We can't go to the equator anymore because there are dinosaurs there. Also, it's getting way too hot. The ecosystem is totally destabilized. Okay, we're wearing our ideology fully on our sleeve. Do we have problems with biotech's overreach? Yes, it's called the Distortus Rex. That's the name, the Distortus Rex. It's a T-Rex and a turtle. I don't know.
Not tortoise. That's funny.
And so I think this idea of having this movie be a metaphor for climate change, it may be too late. It may be too late to raise awareness, and also it's probably too dumb. You know what we really need to do now is we need to rank it. Letterboxd.com, everybody. Letterboxd.com/thenextreel. That's where you can find our HQ page for the Next Reel Family of Film Podcasts, where we assign our hearts and stars. This one isn't going to cost you too much, I don't imagine. You know the rules. When you give your star and heart rating, you have to also talk about what movies you're removing other stars.
Insane. Every time
I can't take it. I almost can't take it seriously anymore. So, JJ came in with the most animus. What do you think?
Well, I started with a 1.5, but I actually dropped it down to a 1 based on our conversation here because I was really, you heard my excitement. I was really hoping that y'all had something that you liked about it. I see these movies because of you, and wow, this one, you guys didn't like it either, so it's way on the bottom. So I give it 1 star and a not like. It made me angry. It made me laugh at it. I'm done with it.
Oh, okay. All right, Tom?
Dinotastic, no notes. No, movies are hard. Huge studio movies are really hard, but this movie suffered from laziness. Just complete laziness, and I can't forgive that, especially when there's so many resources going to it. So I'm going to give it 4 stars and a heart. What? Weird. Maybe Stegosaurus through the wind, and then I disappear. No, I'm going to give it 1.5 stars and a no heart, unfortunately.
Okay.
Everyone should have worked harder. This feels like no one cared enough.
Ouch. All right, Steve.
So the thing that I really, really enjoyed about this movie was that it allowed me to take my wife and daughter and son-in-law to a D-Box movie for the first time. So we got to be at least entertained by jiggling, vibrating seats for this. So at least there was that as a bonus. But even at the end of that, my wife was like, well, I thought the seats would have maybe done a little bit more. And I thought the movie would have done a little bit more. So I also have to look at this within the Jurassic Park. And I think there are some that are worse than this. And so I'm going to go with 2 stars on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to go with 2 stars. And yeah, I can't give it a heart because I just can't, but 2 stars.
Done.
Okay. All right. Mandy, given absolutely no nostalgia factor.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just didn't like it, and I thought it failed at everything it attempted. And I'll give it 1 star. And the good news is it in no way ruins the idea that I should watch Jurassic Park. You know, for my podcast, I will watch Jurassic Park and have people nerd out about it and get me all hyped up about it.
Love it.
Because this doesn't seem to have anything to do with it. So
it really doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, there are plants in it.
Well, it'll be interesting when you do watch the first one. You'll be like, oh, that's what they were trying to replicate.
Oh.
The feeling of this big da-da-da-da, look, dinosaurs in love. Like, they tried to
Jurassic
do
Park.
The waving of the torch. There's a lot of throwbacks, and none of them work.
Oh.
I love that you think I'll remember anything about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
But I will be having jalapeno cheddar popcorn when I watch the original too.
All right. I think I'm probably on Camp Steve because there were moments of visual grace that I liked enough. I think I'm done with this movie. I don't think I'm going to go back to it. And it just makes me sad, so sad as a fan of the Jurassic Park cinematic universe and literary universe, right? I like the books a lot. And so that's super frustrating, but man, I don't know. This is the bigger problem I have right now is that the Crichton, I don't know who owns the rights to this property. It was originally Michael Crichton characters and story. And I believe that Crichton's widow is suing the production of The Pit because ER was a Michael Crichton universe. And so they just renamed it The Pit instead of doing ER with Noah Wyle playing his original doctor. And that felt like such a stupid decision to me on behalf of the Crichton estate not to let this crew create The Pit, but actually make it an ER property and connect that to Michael Crichton. And yet this movie exists. Like, those two things should not exist in the same universe. Right. It makes me so mad. So I don't know. Maybe problem is I have this no half stars thing. So am I 1 star? Am I 2 stars? Definitely no heart. I'm going to go for 2 stars right now because I'm feeling gracious and movies are fun to see anyway. And I also saw it in D-Box. There was one good move. One. And it was in the first 20 minutes of the movie. It was a mosasaur thing. And I jumped out of my seat. I thought it was a great move.
Yes.
The rest of it was completely unused technology. So anyway.
Was it when they introduced us to that family that we had no understanding of where they were in the story, and then all of a sudden we spend like 10 minutes sailing with these people that have nothing to do with any story at all?
Yeah. Right about.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it was good.
This movie needs a drinking game bad.
Yes. I'm into it.
Maybe it will. Just briefly, the box office, you guys. It clawed in $30.5 million on Wednesday, $26.3 million on Friday, making it the top film in U.S. theaters. The 3-day total came into around $85 million. We'll see as we record this. We still have another day on the holiday weekend. The extended haul, I think is it going to be around $140 million for this thing, which seems extraordinary.
That's close to
globally.
The opening movies.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, they did say Rebirth.
They used that word for sure. It is underwhelming compared to Dominion. Dominion opened at $145 million, Fallen Kingdom at $148, the original Jurassic World a massive $208. So it's lower than its benchmarks, right?
Yeah.
Technically the slimmest haul in the era of Jurassic reboots. But here's the other piece that we don't often do the complete math. And so just like researching what has been written, thanks to mostly Hollywood Reporter, Box Office Mojo, $225 million budget plus global marketing. If I think that puts our break even around something like $675 million worldwide. That is a heavy number to make this even sniff profitability. Yeah,
100% broken.
Very, very frustrating and sad. So that's it. Jurassic Park, Jurassic World Rebirth. Nobody even knows what to call it anymore. They've run out of titles.
Garbage.
Thank you all for hanging out here. JJ, thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tommy, you got anything you want to say to the world?
Watch the original Jurassic Park, and Sinners is on HBO. You have Max. Watch Sinners, not this.
Excellent.
This
also,
is a big month
listen.
for movies.
Big
F1,
month for movies.
Fantastic Four. There's a lot coming out this month.
Yeah.
We don't always choose the best one.
We did cover
did
F1
Y2K.
on the other show on the next. We did F1 on the next reel. Definitely check that out and listen to Tommy on All the Feelings: Adulting. Now broadcasting. Steve, what do you want to talk about?
We were so busy, figuring out how we could do this podcast, episode. We didn't think whether or not we should.
That's a great callback. One day, Mandy will understand that too. Mandy, what do you want to talk about?
Podcast finds a way.
My podcast, Make Me a Nerd, is back for season 2. Lots of exciting guests coming up, including, the season 2 launched with Justin Jaeger, and
Thunderbolts.
We did Thunderbolts, and I have lots of really fun, different topics and entities that I'm diving into. So Make Me a Nerd, and part of the True Story family.
Outstanding. Very well done. And I am Pete Wright, and I actually have some things to plug that are new. First, we have Craft and Chaos, which is another new show on True Story FM. And it is a podcast about people remaining creative, creators being creative in a time where, I don't know if you've heard, the world feels like it's on fire. And it's a fun show, and it's a roundtable show, and we're doing a lot of fun stuff talking about issues facing people in the creative industries. And I also have a show called Headstone that has launched. Headstone, the trailer is out. I would love it if you would subscribe. It is a show about human legacy, and it is very different from everything that I do, and who knows what it will turn out to be, but I've got episodes recorded. I'm very excited to bring it to light. So Headstone, another show over at True Story. Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to this show. We appreciate your time and attention. What is coming up next month? Tom, I think that's your job now.
We're gonna go back and rewatch Y2K and Jurassic Park Afterbirth. What did we decide on? I don't remember.
This is actually one of the reasons that I've decided to just give it to you.
Yeah,
I remember because I'm very
Mandy?
excited. Thursday
Mandy,
Murder Club.
what is it? It's the Thursday Murder Club, and it's a Netflix joint. So if you've got Netflix, you can just watch it when it releases. What was the weekend?
August 28th, I think Tommy said.
It's very end of the month. So hang out with us online. Check out Discord at discord.com/ or thenextreel.com. truestory.fm/Discord. Come join us there. We'd love to have you. Thank you, everybody. And until next month, meeting adjourned.
Did we all do it?
Enough of
Too
us
much
to make
chair
it a
squeaking.
thing. Right.
In the movie, they sound like.
That was Chewy.